something from your past that you didn't really want to come out, something you're hiding. Or are you hiding? You sort of forgot about it. You're not thinking about it. And now you're in a divorce and you're wondering, do I got to bring this up? Do I got to disclose? If you go to a therapist, do you tell them everything? Like everything? Well, we're dealing with today the second attorney style. Last episode, we dealt with the swarmer, which is jab, 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 jab. A lot of energy. But those punches, they're annoying, but they're not knocking you out. And this style, that's what they focus on. This is the brawler. And the brawler wants to do a one-punch knockout, not dealing with a lot of noise, one or two issues, and you are down, done. So let me give you a story how this works in practice. Let's say back in the day, you had a DUI, maybe even in college, and it's like 15 years from now. And this is well before you were married, well before you had kids, but you had a DUI. And when you got your first job, let's say it was a corporate job, and they asked if you ever were arrested. And you were like, should I disclose this DUI? Should I not disclose it? And you just decided not to disclose it. You were concerned you wouldn't get the job if you disclosed it. The only problem is, fast forward 15 years, now you're in a divorce, and the opposing attorney found out that you had a DUI, and I don't know how they got it, but they got those employment records, and they found out you didn't disclose it. So now, all things being equal, they're just focusing on that. See, it's not necessarily the DUI. It's the cover-up. Because if you're covering up that, what else are you covering up? And now the judge may not know in a custody battle, if things are close, what to do. Let me give you another take. Let's say you had something in the past, but you just forgot about it because, it's back then. You did a lot of things that are bad. All of us have. It didn't really come up in your divorce 15 years later. And you didn't disclose it to your attorney. You just thought, not so relevant. Probably not going to figure it out. I'm just going to do risk management and try and see what happens. But the only problem is you're up against a brawler, and the brawler did their homework. And at the trial, when they're cross-examining you, they come after you on that issue. And it's embarrassing. It's shameful. It paints you in a bad light. Now, if you think your attorney can just rehabilitate you with no notice, no preparation, most attorneys can't do that. Most attorneys can't do that. They have to prepare. And that's the two takes on this. So let's put our lawyer hat on to really understand what I'm talking about. This is the brawler. Okay. The brawler is a little bit quieter than the swarmer. So that's good. But the issue is they focus on one or two issues. They're very comfortable in court. They're more comfortable in trials. And they're just trying to find, that thing that really hurts you. I was watching Survivor last night, season 50, shout out. And, when everyone's trying to manipulate everyone else to vote this way or that way, they try to hit you where it hurts. And that's what the brawler does. They're hitting you where it hurts. Boom, lights out. All right, so let me just make sure you understand how the game really works. And it is a game. Okay, I'm not trying to diminish it. This is real life, but it is a game, especially as high conflict divorces. And you have to know the rules. That's what we're talking about. You're sort of graded on a curve. There's no perfect score. If you go through a divorce, a high conflict divorce, you're not having someone who's, an angel and someone's a devil. It's usually two people who have problems who are not perfect, and who's the better of not perfect. It reminds me of that joke, if you ever heard it, about this couple who goes to the woods camping, and they hear rustling outside. So one spouse puts their head out the camp and they see a bear. They go, bear, oh my God. And they start putting on their running shoes. And then their other spouse is like, what are you doing? You can't outrun a bear. And the spouse says, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just have to outrun you. And that's sort of what you want to think about when you're dealing with high conflict divorces. All right, so my core message is, unlike the swarmer, the brawler needs one punch. But here's the truth. You got to decide where it lands. So let me give you an action step. Just do it now. Do it early. I want you to save your budget. I want you to save your money, your time, your energy, your emotion. Just think, what would I want them to not know about me? And think of more. Everything you can think of. If you think of 10 things, come back tomorrow and do it again and come back with 100 things. And even if it's 0.01% relevant, do it. Tell your attorney this. Your attorney's a trusted advisor. Hopefully you have a trusted advisor. And there's an attorney-client privilege. So they're supposed to keep everything secret. Now, I understand it's embarrassing. I understand it's shameful. But if you started the process with an attorney, you realize how uncomfortable it is. You got to tell them all about your financial situation. You got to show them all these emails and texts, maybe when you're at your worst. So you got to really, leverage that relationship. Now, back in the day when I was in college, I experienced this embarrassment and shame. I one morning got up and just had this severe pain urinating. I was like, oh my God, I can't call my parents. I guess I got to go to the health center. This is ridiculous. What's going on with me? And I'm freaking out, panicking. Thankfully, I went to the health center, but they can see that I was didn't want to tell them. I was embarrassed and shamed. And I got all this pain. How am I going to tell them all these issues? And the nurse looked at me and said, honey, you're not going to surprise me. And that made me feel comfortable. Like we've been through it all. That's what we're here for. That's what we deal with. We're here to help you. You're a college kid. We understand. And that's what a good divorce attorney does. All right. So next week, we're going to move to a new style, or next episode, and it's the boxer. The boxer is tactical. To swarmers, a lot of punches that are maybe not so hurtful, but in total, it's just enough to stop already. And the brawler's trying to knock you out. The boxer is a power puncher. I mean, the harder you push them, the harder they're going to counterpunch. And we're going to talk about that boxing style. I'm Corey Shapiro. This is the Getting Divorced Without Losing Your Mind podcast. Let's step forward with clarity together.
This podcast offers general information only. It cannot replace legal advice. If you need tailored advice, contact an attorney licensed to practice in your area.